His name is Max and goes to the max by nature, emerging as F1's youngest ever competitor at just 17 years old. Max Verstappen has pushed himself, his car, his rivals and sports records to the extreme. This handsome-looking Dutchman boldly took the Toro Rosso and then the Red Bull by the horns unapologetically. In this video, we'll be talking about Max Emilian Verstappen, one of the boldest drivers in F1 history. Verstappen saw a race for the first time when he was 3 years old with his father Jos, a former F1 driver. At 18 years and 228 days old, Max Verstappen had become the youngest F1 point scorer and youngest race winner, with a golden opportunity and controlled drive debut for Red Bull in Barcelona 2016. And since then, Verstappen has gone ahead to become a 4-time Formula One world champion. But despite Verstappen's clear skills, his unapologetic no-hold-barred attitude and boldness have sometimes landed him on the bad side of the other F1 drivers and the FIA. However, the mistakes that have made his potential seem bleak to some have paved the way for maturity, and the energy and bravado that make him one of F1's top drivers have not wavered. And the victories haven't stopped. So that brings us to the question, why is Max Verstappen F1's most controversial champion? He's got the talent, that is undeniable about Max, but there can't be a champion without one or two stories surrounding them. The 2021 final race of the season in Abu Dhabi shook up one of the most intense, interesting, yet controversial wins in Formula One history. Now, let's be honest, Verstappen deserved the title, but so did Lewis Hamilton as well. Both men gave it their all, showcasing that they were on a different level entirely. It would be an understatement to class the race as exciting, as it put every Formula One racing fan on the edge of their seats. Verstappen v the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. It would be Verstappen's first world championship against the decade-long dominating legend and Mercedes team. And trust me when I say this was a battle. But there can only be one winner and one man has to lose. Why did that victory have to spark such outrage and controversy that it required intervention from the stewards? Before spilling the tea on how Verstappen became F1's most controversial champion, if you love our content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, as we have mind-blowing F1 racing stories that you don't want to miss. After a season of intense competition between Hamilton and Verstappen in the final race in Abu Dhabi, a late race safety car decision allowed Verstappen to pass Hamilton on the final lap and thus giving him the World Championship. However, this action resulted in some unsatisfied and intense debate about the fairness and rules of the sport. There were questions about the authenticity of the win and why Verstappen had to be the winner when the rules of the race didn't align with what happened on the track. Hamilton was in control, leading the race until there was a twist in the tale of the story at the very death. The gap between him and Verstappen was over 10 seconds until Nicholas Latifi crashed 5 laps from the end of the race, changing everything entirely. The scrutinisers blamed race control. Now the question is, what could race control have done differently when Latifi crashed? There were 5 laps to go. Latifi's car spun after following close behind another car, hitting the wall and stopping on the track. Automatically, there was an option of race control waving the red flag to stop the race completely, like when Verstappen's tyre burst earlier in the season in Azerbaijan. But since in this situation there wasn't much debris, race control didn't see any reason to stop the race, and the decision meant there was a chance of a restart. And that was where the controversial win began. Because of the safety car, Hamilton couldn't pit for new tyres without losing track position, so he continued racing on older, slower tyres, slowing him down. At this point, there were 5 lapped cars between Hamilton and Verstappen. That was an opening for Red Bull, so they took the chance and pitted Verstappen, putting him on faster, softer, newer tyres. With the track clear as they got close to the end, race control allowed just those 5 cars between Hamilton and Verstappen to unlap themselves. This put Max just inches behind Lewis. Mercedes felt this was a win for them since the rules stated that lap cars could not unlap themselves. Therefore, the safety car would come in the following lap, which would mean finishing the race under the safety car without a racing lap. But controversially, rather than following those rules, race control brought the safety car in immediately to allow for one final racing lap. On this final lap of the entire championship, Verstappen began behind Hamilton with faster, newer tyres and quickly made a move down the inside of Hamilton to take the lead at turn 5. Verstappen, on fresher tyres, easily stayed ahead of Lewis in the final corners, won the race and the World Championship. It was his first World Championship in the most incredible fashion. Final race, final lap against the 7-time champion legend Lewis Hamilton. But it wasn't met with open arms. Mercedes was so upset, they protested against the race, saying that Verstappen's driving style behind the safety car was too rough and aggressive, and that race control didn't follow the rules concerning lapped cars. They argued that going by the F1 rulebook, it was all of the cars that should have been unlapped or none of them at all. However, the protests were dismissed, saying Verstappen won fair and square. Questions began to fly around. Was it because it was Verstappen's first win and they wanted to rob him of it? Were Mercedes threatened by the young man that knocked them off their feet? Or were they simply pointing out that the official rules of Formula 1 hadn't been followed? It was a race of calculation and wits. The safety car came at the perfect time and Verstappen took advantage of it. This win put Verstappen at the top of the podium for F1's most controversial champion, and the rivalry between Hamilton and Verstappen was one of the most intense in F1's history. But Max wasn't about to slow down anytime soon. Max spares no time to speak his mind, and his bluntness makes him stand out amongst his peers and is a foundation of his success with his Red Bull team. On countless occasions, Verstappen's driving style has sparked remarks and strong reactions all through his career. He's aggressive and fearless on the track. His driving style has been criticised as reckless and fiercely competitive. His boldness and bravery make it possible for him to push boundaries. I mean, there's other racers that have been in the sport for years, winning back-to-back, and honestly, it's not about luck or skill, but being a bit crazy and different in what you do. Verstappen's duality makes him one of the most talked about racers in F1. He's not known to play it safe, and this set him apart from the beginning. He once said in an interview, "I am straight to the point. When I think it's shit, it's shit. When it's good, it's good. That's how I interact with the team." But how does the Dutch-Belgian driver interact with the media? Verstappen's relationship with the media and the FIA hasn't been of the rosy kind. Because of his daring driving style, bluntness and willingness to push limits, Verstappen has earned the crown of controversy king in F1 racing. And this, of course, often brings him face to face with Formula 1's governing body, the FIA. Verstappen is known not to hold back and openly challenges decisions he believes to be unfair or inconsistent. Even when he's handed penalties, he doesn't hold back in fighting for what he believes in. It's expected that not everyone likes the guy that asks a lot of questions or why something has to be a particular way, but Max doesn't care. His victory in Abu Dhabi ignited intense debate as he became a world champion who proved to be a polarising and challenging figure for the FIA officials to manage. As Verstappen continues to cement his legacy as one of F1's leading talents, his relationship with the FIA is as important as ever. Max Verstappen remains one of the hottest topics in F1. Some critics believe that his fearless, bold personality is exactly what the sport needs. He brings drama, excitement, pushes the pace, and there's always a fascinating story circulating to talk about him. To be honest, there's no better way of putting everyone on the edge of their seats. With Max, you just don't know what's going to happen next when he's behind the wheel. At the same time, not everyone agrees with his approach, especially for the betterment of the sport. Some believe his aggressiveness crosses the line and pushes boundaries a bit too far. They believe his style can result in accidents or set dangerous standards that's too risky for other drivers to follow. But what do you think? Is Max's nature a positive for F1, or is he going too far? Either way, it depends on how you view racing. If you're in it for keep you on the edge drama, Max is all that. But if you're more of a traditional type, cautious and careful, then Max's style might be a little too intense. Regardless, there's no disputing that Max Verstappen makes F1 interesting. Whether you're Max's fan when he's blasting speed or scared when he goes beyond, one thing is for sure, he brings the spice and we're here for it. His aggressive driving gives us all something to talk about. Now, what do you think? Does the Dutchman simply live life on the edge, or is he taking on more than he can handle? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated on the fascinating stories of F1 stars. See you in the next one.